What's going on, Bills Mafia? This is Jan716 back here again, and today I want to preview the Dolphins going against the Buffalo Bills. This is going to be another struggle game for the Buffalo Bills. I can almost guarantee you that. Why do I believe it? Because the Bills have struggled in almost every single game. No. Let me just take that back. They've struggled in every single game that they have played against, whether if they're good or bad. So we all know that this is going to be another struggle game. The question is, what will be the score? And will it be a win or will it be an L for this Buffalo Bills unit? And this is a very, very important football game because if they lose this game, they're out of the playoffs. I know that you look at the you look at their number. They'll be 6-4, and they would not. They're not going to be out of the playoffs. But looking at the rest of that schedule and seeing if they lose to the Dolphins, we all know they're not making the playoffs. So the question is, because I'm not worried about the defense. I know that there are some people worried about the defense, specifically Levi Wallace, because he's been torn apart. But Preston Williams won't be playing this game. The last time they played, Preston Williams had a great was in a matchup with Levi Wallace. It was a great, fun battle to watch. A lot of jamming, just a lot of physicality. And Preston Williams won that matchup, and that's really where the Levi Wallace, where people were just jumping off the bandwagon of Levi Wallace, and they keep saying that he sucks. I just think that Levi Wallace has had a bad 3 weeks, but I think that he's still a really, really good corner. But Preston Williams, because of injury, won't be playing in this game, so that will really be good. And I think that Levi Wallace has a bounce back game, and he shows up and he becomes the cornerback that I think that Bills fans expected him to be, and that's being a true number 2 corner. But I'm not worried about the defense on this one. I think, they holding 6 out of 8 teams to under 20 points. I think they'll get the job done here against Miami. Ryan Fitzpatrick, we all know he has that once-in-a-lifetime game where he just has a dominating game, right? He completes 70% completion percentage, throws for like almost 300 passing yards or even more than that. He just has that game. Ever since then, really, Ryan Fitzpatrick really hasn't had that type of game. And I expect him to fall back down to earth. Plus the Bills' defense, Sean McDermott, Leslie Frazier, they got a lot of game footage on them. And I just haven't seen really anything from Miami, even despite their 2 straight wins. I just don't see that much of a threat from this Dolphins offense. Maybe the run game will be a threat because Buffalo hasn't really been able to stop the run the last 3-4 games. But I'm confident in this Bills defense. If there's one thing that has made me happy, it's been the fact that this defense has been proven to be in a top 10 elite defensive unit, and I expect them to do that, especially in this game, and especially because they're coming off a loss. I expect this defense to be a lot hungrier. I expect them to be meaner, and I expect them to dominate. So offensively, the question is, how are we going to do offensively? This is one of the worst scoring offenses in football. We can barely score 20 points a game. Even though that our defense has given us plenty of opportunities to score, we have just wasted those possessions based off horrible matchups, a misuse of our personnel, and just terrible play calling by Brian Dable, and of course lack of execution by the Bills players. And we can't forget about the penalties, specifically the false start and the holding calls. We can't forget about those calls because it happens almost every single week, and there's at least 3 or 4 of those penalties that goes on this offense every single time. So the question is can this Bills offense play a clean game? Because I think that if they do, they play a clean game, and more specifically, if they run the football with Devin Singletary, they at least give him maybe 18, 19, maybe 20 touches. I think Buffalo will win this game, and I'm even more confident that they'll win the game now. But that's if they run the ball with Devin Singletary. For some reason, we only give Devin Singletary the ball like at least maybe 11, 12 times a game. Frank Gore gets around 5-6 carries, and Josh Allen can just throw for 40 times in the game, and he's proven that he's not ready to take those amount of snaps. He's proven that he doesn't deserve that. But yet Brian Dable continues to try to force Josh Allen to being who he's not. That's not Josh Allen. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not Deshaun Watson. He's not Carson Wentz. He's not Tom Brady. He is not a guy that you can drop him back 40 times and expect him to complete at least 65% of those throws. He's not that type of quarterback. He's not ready. He's not ready for that yet. And I think that Brian Daboll has misused his personnel all season long. Again, I have never been a fan of Brian Daboll. Bama fans, you guys know I hate Brian Daboll. He sucks. He ruined Jalen Hurts when he was at Alabama. And I'm not the biggest fan of Hurts, but he ruined him. He's a terrible offensive coordinator. And he has shown the Bills Mafia just how weak of an OC that he is. So the question is for Brian Daboll is that can we have a clean slate of football? Can we have great execution, which is on the players, right? That's on the players to really execute whatever he calls. Can we have consistent play calling? Could we have a right use of our scheme, right? Well, like what type of scheme are we gonna bring to the Miami Dolphins, right? Can we execute that? Can we use our personnel to his advantage? Because I mean, we're a run first football team. We're a power run. We're a run first football team. But we want to be a drop back 40 times, spread you out type of football team. We're not the Kansas City Chiefs. That's not what type of football team we are. And so really, I want to see in this game, can we go back to running the ball, giving Devin Singletary 20 carries? Because what has Devin Singletary, what has he done to show you that he doesn't deserve those carries? He's averaging 5 yards a carry. He's averaging close to 6 yards a carry, actually. Last week against Cleveland, he had 8 carries for 42 yards and averaged 5.3 yards a carry. What else does he need to do to show you that he deserves to touch the rock? Obviously, our offensive line, we're not a pass blocking football team. We don't have the personnel up front to do that. I mean, for God's sakes, we rotate to our right tackle, which you can make an argument is the most important position in football. And we continue to rotate Ty Nsekhe and Cody Ford based off of if we're going to run the ball or throw the ball. It's stupid. We're the only team in football that does that. We are a run-first football team. Feliciano, Cody Ford, that's what you brought him here for, to be a run blocker. Nsekhe, all those guys on the offensive line. Mitch Morse, he's known for being one of the best being the best run blocking center in all of football. Just a horrible misuse of your personnel. But yet we want to be we want to be like the Chiefs. We want to be a drop back type of team. We want to be a team that throws the ball 40 times. It's ridiculous. So for the Dolphins game, are we going to do that again? Are we going to use Josh Allen, throw the ball 31, 33 times a game, barely give Devin Singletary more than 12 carries, barely giving him 12, 13 carries, giving the ball to Frank Gore in short yardage situations, misusing what Frank Gore really is. Frank Gore is still a good back. He can still play, but we only use him in short yardage situations. I mean, it's horrible. Just a horrible misuse of our personnel by Brian Daboll. Just calm down for a bit. But I think that this is going to be a game that I think that Sean McDermott knows we have to get back to what we are as a football team, what we've always been as a team, and that's running the ball, being a power run team first. That's what we are. We're a power run football team. We're a run first football team. And I think that's what we'll go back, we'll establish that identity, establish that physicality on the offensive line, control the clock. I think Josh Allen has a bounce back game. I think he throws a more efficient game. I'm expecting maybe around 200 passing yards and maybe completing around 61, 62% of his completion percentage. But I don't mind that. As long as we use our personnel the right way, what is intended to be, instead of using them for whatever stupid purpose that we are doing with what Brian Daboll's doing with the personnel that he has at his disposal. As long as we're using them right, I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with Josh Allen completing 62% of his throws in 200, because ultimately you can make an argument that can honestly make Josh Allen better. Sometimes being a game manager is not so damn bad. But we're trying to break Josh Allen. But Daboll is forcing Allen out of that mold, and I just don't think it's just not going to work. It hasn't worked all year round. So anyway, guys, I'm expecting a defensive battle. I think the Bills will struggle in this game ultimately, and I think that this will be a 20-17 game, with the Buffalo Bills winning this game, going 7-3, and coming back home to play the Denver Broncos, which will also be another important matchup before we play Dallas. So anyway, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, would appreciate it if you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. If you guys want to see more Bills content and just see more sports content in general, share the video as much as you can because it really helps me out. And that's all I got. That's pretty much all there is. So thank you guys so much for watching. This is Jan716. I'm out. Peace.